Public disclaimer, this video has a lot of hot characters. If you're into the supernatural genre, you know vampires are a long-time signification of downtown hotness. Here are the top 10 vampire romance anime, so get ready for some sick and twisted love stories coming your way right now. From the bottom of the pyramid is Diabolic Lovers. Many times I want to believe this anime is more than a dumb, unfortunate blonde being tossed around by a group of vampires in a love heptagon. And truthfully, it's not. Our protagonist is Yui, and she's a high school student whose character development declines faster than the stock market. But I also think she has a secret kink for being treated like shit. Her life takes a U-turn when she accidentally ends up in a mansion belonging to ruthless vampires. They're not only going to give her a hard time, they ban her from leaving the premises as their sacrificial bride. In other words, Yui ends up as the vampire Thanksgiving turkey who showed up at the perfect time. One thing about this anime is that in the middle of the toxicity, there's a brewing romance between Yui and her unconventional vampires, and we absolutely love it. The story follows Yui and the vampire's bloody love story while the boys try their ultimate best not to kill her or snap off her neck. The romance is largely focused on control, manipulation, dominance, and submission rather than mutual or genuine affection. Diabolic Lovers is like an obsession you love, although it's detrimental to your being. I literally have to imagine Yui's face on a punching bag to deal with the emotional stress she puts me through. Somehow, these guys make it work, and we absolutely love it. Next on the list is Vampire Night. This shows what you get when you throw a bunch of wannabe Gucci, Versace, or K-pop models into an anime. Seriously, I have never seen a group of characters with so much more sass than character depth that can't even hold water. Over here, we have Yuki. As the student council president, it's Yuki's job to protect the human students from the claws of the blood-drinking night students. But homegirl flops so badly at the job she ends up caught in a romantic triangle. The story features multiple romantic storylines with a lot of emotional tension, especially between the protagonist Yuki and her two vampire love interests. Can we say this contributes to the bulk of her wrong decisions throughout the series? Well, yes. Vampire Night explores forbidden love with an emotional pull strong enough to pull an elephant. Adding to the romantic friction is a love triangle, which is central to the series. Dance with Devils sits magnificently at 8th place. This show presents us with another comic case of reverse harem where bros find themselves chasing a bland girl. Yeah, I know, I should probably stop at this point. So Ritsuka is just your typical high school girl. Well, until she finds out her classmates are demons, vampires, and other supernatural beings all vying for her attention. Yeah, so it's not your average love triangle. Now she's stuck in a supernatural soap opera where every date could end in a magical disaster. Or worse, a bite. The only difference between this and Vampire Night is that these bros are indeed K-pop idols, so that means it's a musical anime. Ritsuka is stuck between trying to figure out who's secretly plotting her downfall and dodging attempts on her life, normal reverse harem material. Ritsuka has to pick between super attractive guys, each with their dark secrets and, well, fangs. When there's the mix of brooding demon prince, a saucy vampire with a taste for drama, and a devilish bad boy who, let's be real, is probably more trouble than he's worth, what could possibly go wrong? But hey, romance is a blood sport in this world, and no one's leaving this twisted love dance unbitten. Following the list is Call the Night in 7th place. Alright, first off, this show turns the vampire table around a bit, and we absolutely love the plot twist. Over here, we have a teenager who thinks he's Batman until an encounter with the devil. So, just so you don't crack your brain wondering whose sub this belongs to, it's Ko. Ko is your typical sleep-deprived teenager. He's unable to find satisfaction in his sorry life and finds himself wandering the streets at night, only to bump into Nazuna, a mysterious carefree vampire, with a love for playful teasing. She's not just a vampire, she's a vampire who thinks staying out all night is the best thing since, well, blood bags. Naturally, Ko's intrigued by Nazuna and maybe a little in love. I mean, who wouldn't fall for someone who looks at the world in the most cool, detached way possible? With every night they spend together, the romantic tension grows like an awkward teen crush. except it's way more complicated with blood-sucking involved. Their love story is a subtle, slow burn that evolves beautifully with a lot of romantic tension. At 6th place, we have Vampire Dormitory. Of course, it wouldn't be a complete list without the male lead looking devilishly vampire-y hot. No homo, though. This anime introduces us to a modern-day vampire story with the right amount of romantic tension, fan service, flair, quirky situations, humor, and emotional connection. At the center of it, we have Mito and Ruka as the main focus, but not without other additions to complicate the story. It all begins when Mito loses her parents, becomes a straight rat with no will to live, and ends up disguising herself as a boy for reasons best known to her. After suffering with no meaning to it, she's about to end it all by jumping off a bridge when she's saved by Ruka. Well, it turns out that was only possible because Bro's a vampire. So he tells her, you know what, come live in my all-boys dorm, but in exchange you have to be my human-sized blood bag. So Mito struggles to keep her secret and sanity while living among smelly gym socks and underwear. She also gets closer to Ruka and eventually, you know where this ends. And then we also have Ren. Bro's ambition in life is to make sure Mito and Ruka never get their happy ending, even if he has to kill Goku to achieve it. Brief disclaimer for you, you're a 10 out of 10, and we're glad to hear of you here, Pookie. Animechi is not pregnant, but you know we always deliver. It's our job to give the best top lists, but how about you make us a 10 out of 10 channel by gracing us with your top-notchness when you hit the like and subscribe? Moving on the list, sweet bye marks. Another really hot male lead. Again, no homo, my homies, but I think it's time these 2D bros cut us some slack. Furthermore, Sweet Bite Marks is a supernatural romance with vampires at the center, but with Chinese animation style. It features a world build where most in the genre don't show us. A world where humans and vampires coexist. The anime tells us a story of a human girl who's arrogant and cold as ice. Yu, on the other hand, is he's a vampire prince who has mastered the art of seduction like a game of chess. He plays homegirl into his web of love with just a bite. And after a long trail of persuasion, the hard nut cracks open into a heart-fluttering romance. Although the show's tone is lighthearted and fun, the scenes are to die for as the duo who began as enemies slowly become fond of themselves. Emotional connections and slight traces of character development we can't see because the vampire prince is too hot? You can bet on it. In 4th place is Devil's Line. In this show, what we get is a beautiful mix of romance, action, and thriller elements. So we've got Tsukasa, a totally normal college student who just happens to get caught up with Anzai, a half-human, half-vampire cop who struggles with his I'm going to eat you urges. Yes, you heard that right, because Anzai has never tasted blood, he looks malnourished all the time, but guess what? His heart isn't. It's a slow burn of a romance because, how could you date a guy who might bite your neck off at any second? But hey, that's what makes it so tense. We also get to see Anzai go out of his way to save his woman, even if it means going full demon mode. It's a thrilling mix of blood, love, and a whole lot of drama for days, people. Coming in at number 3 is Bakemonogatari. This show is what you get if someone takes a stylish, witty high school romance and throws in a ton of supernatural weirdness for fun. Although not entirely rooted in the vampire genre, it has a subtle element to it. We follow Aragi, a guy who has some close encounters with supernatural beings, like becoming a vampire and nearly dying. Having survived that traumatic experience, he's now helping these girls with all sorts of bizarre and ghostly problems, like that dude your girl can't date but is a shoulder for her to lean on when you can't act right. No shade. However, this show is not about fighting spirits. Oh no, the romantic tension's sizzling and there's a lot of it. Senjo Gahara is a sharp-tongued, smart, and super complicated girl who's both incredibly dangerous and incredibly in love with Aragi. Bakemonogatari is like watching a slow-motion car crash of banter, action, and existential weirdness. Every time Aragi thinks he's just trying to help, he ends up tangled in way more than he expected. Emotionally and, sometimes literally. It's awkward. It's witty. It's so romantic. Do we love it? Hell yeah. The tension, off the charts. Sitting pretty in 2nd place is Hakuoki. It is definitely one of the best heartfelt vamp anime. Just think about historical romance with a combination of Vampire Diaries and The Last Samurai. At the center, we have Chizuru, So, Chizuru's life gets turned upside down when she's caught in the middle of a bloody war between the samurai and supernatural creatures. What's the catch? Oh, just the fact that every samurai she meets is like incredibly hot and dangerously supernatural. But this brings us to the romantic tension. While Chizuru's just trying to survive, she ends up caught between these brooding, honorable warriors who are all so obsessed with her as if she fed them love potions. Her choices? Either become a pawn in a centuries-old battle or fall in love with one of these gorgeously tragic men who might need to protect her with their lives. It's a vampiric love triangle that is dripping with blood, romance, samurai, and demons. The tension between Chizuru and the guys? You'll feel it in every sword fight and maybe end up frustrated when your ship choice for her doesn't sail. Finally, at the top of the pyramid is the case study of Anitas. Okay, this show is like Sherlock Holmes but with vampires and way more drama. Now, here's where things get juicy. The chemistry between Noe and Jean. It's a beautiful, chaotic, and absolutely electrifying mix of romantic tension. Noe is a hot-headed vampire who's just along for the ride. Jean, on the other hand, is a total badass who's become hardened by her experiences in life. They're two totally different characters based on emotional depth, but oh, the romantic tension! What makes it worthwhile are the subtle moments of tenderness, especially when Noe's protective instincts kick in. Not gonna lie, the romantic push and pull between them keeps you on the edge of your seat. There's an undeniable connection, even with Jean's scars and Noe's unresolved feelings. Their connection gives this beautiful tortured dance of vulnerability and tension, and it's impossible not to be completely hooked on every little moment between them. Summing this up, their tension is so thick you could cut it with a steak. That's a wrap, weebs. Thank you for sticking around. Tell us in the comments if you agree with this list and which anime should have made the ranks. You made it this far, so don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more tea. See you next time.